Okay, this is horrific because what the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck? Can you be a little bit angled? Hello. I'm recording this video and I don't even know if I'm going to post this. Let me put my thoughts straight in my head. So, in this video, I want to be talking about living with chronic illness. Why? Because I just had one of the worst weeks of my life because of chronic illness. I wouldn't say the worst week of my life, but I would say like the worst week of this year. And this year was rough. So, I've lived with chronic illness for a long time, and I think I have some experience and I can share what has happened to me. My brain is fried. I am so sorry if you don't understand what I'm saying. But yeah, living with chronic illness is crazy. Let's start from the start. Basically, I was born pretty healthy and I had a pretty normal childhood. Like, I don't know, I was able to go to school and I was also able to have ballet classes since I was very young. So I'm very thankful for my childhood. It was very nice. I still go to ballet classes today. So but I was healthy. Like, you know, I would get like a cold or the flu somehow, but apart from that I was fine. And that was until I was like 14. And when I turned 14, it was like 2019. Yeah. And in 2019, for the first time in my life, I had the most painful bellyache I had ever had in my life. And I didn't know there were a lot more to come after that. Crazy. Mic switch because I was using it on the wrong side. But it's okay. As I was saying, when I was 14, mid-year, like I think it was June, so exactly mid-year, I had this crazy bellyache. But then I was like, oh, this is normal. I'm just about to get my period. And yes, I was in fact just getting my period. But that bellyache happened every single month afterwards. So I was like, oh, this is normal. I think everyone feels like this. Like, I asked my friends if they had pain while they were on their period, and they was like, yeah, some. I was like, I can't even walk, but okay, it's probably normal. Until January. So this was in June 2019. Now we're in January 2020. 2020 was a crazy year, but January was still fine. And I had this period pain that I thought so for 3 weeks, 3 first weeks of January. And my mom knew I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't even get out of bed, and she was like, maybe in the first week we went to the hospital. Like, I wasn't on my period wasn't about to come or anything, so I just went to the ER, and they were like, oh, this is normal, just take some painkillers, some ibuprofen or something like that, and it will pass. It didn't pass. Go away. The pain didn't go away, never. And the week after, like the second week of pain, I went again to the hospital. And they were like, oh, maybe it's appendicitis. And I was like, okay, let's do this. It wasn't appendicitis. They did all the exams they had to do, and no appendicitis. Everything was fine. All the exams I did were fine. Blood tests on point. So actually was fine apparently. But I was still in pain, and they were like, "Oh, go home, sleep. Maybe you'll feel better." Well, I didn't. So, but after the third week, the pain kind of went away, and I was like, "What now?" And then 2 months, in those 2 months before COVID, because March 2020 COVID, during it wasn't 2 months. During February, I was like, okay, let's see another doctor. I went to another doctor, and and they said, "Oh, that could be muscular." I was a athletic girl. I did like track running and all that, and they said that it could be my muscles acting up. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna believe the doctors, and I did. And I went to see more doctors, and it wasn't muscular either. So, what was it? Mind you, I was 14. And I was talking with my aunt, like, during this time, and she was like, "You know I have endo, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, you've talked about it to me, like, thousands of times. I heard your story." She was like, "What if you have endo?" And in my head, I was like, "Oh my god, maybe this is it." And I started actually searching on the internet, because COVID hit bad, and I was home. I was having like phone calls. My appointments were by phone, and I was like, "I have pain in my belly," and they were like, "Okay, on the right side, on the left one." Exactly. So I was like searching all about it, and it matched up. I was like, okay, maybe I should make an appointment to a gynecologist, and that's what I did. But COVID and everything, so I went to a private gynecologist, and I want to say it was either September or October 2020, which means I spent a few months at home gathering my symptoms. I made a book, like, not a book, I made a notebook with my symptoms and the levels of pain every day, and I gathered that I was more in pain than I was not in pain. It was cool. I never did a notebook like that again, because that would be traumatizing. Don't do that. But yeah, I did that notebook, gathered my information, and went to a private gynecologist. I was now 15. And I had to go alone, like, because of COVID, and they didn't want like COVID to I don't know. I had to go alone. That's the point. My dad had to stay outside, and I went to the doctor, and I was like, I'm never going to that doctor ever again. Made me want to die. First, I had to do like I don't know what you call this exam in English. Let me think. I think it's an ultrasound. I had to do one. I'll search about it. I'll search the name of it. But I had to do that. And he was like, "I don't see anything." And he said some awful shit that I don't want to remember. He said, like, "No, I don't see anything. I think you're fine. Like, visually you're fine. But I think you have endo." And I was like, based on what? Based on what? The voices in your head? Probably. And he said that, "No, yeah, I think you have endo, but I'm just gonna put you on the birth control pill. Like, birth control here for you. Take it." And then he prescribed me the birth control. And before, like, the second I was about to step out that door, he was like, "You know what? You can always read about that illness on the internet. It's super interesting. I was 15 years old, and I had a doctor telling me to read about an illness on the internet that I probably most likely had, but read it on the internet because it's super interesting and fun. Girl, what? No, I cannot do this. I came out of that place and I was like, I came out of it and I was like, what did just happen? But I did, in fact, I bought the birth control and tried it for 2 weeks. I tried that birth control for 2 weeks and it was enough to put me in bed again. It was so bad. Like, so bad. And I called the doctor because, you know, you're supposed to have some faith in doctors. Some of them at least. And I called the doctor and he was like, that's normal. For about 3 months, you're going to feel like that. But then it will go away and you won't be able to live without it. That day, the day he said that, I never took another pill of that. Well, some more time passed and I was called for an appointment. I was called to go to an appointment in a public hospital, and I did, and I found this amazing doctor. She was so cute. She still is cute. She still is. And she was like, yeah, since you have family history of endometriosis, we're going to do some exams to see, like, if I can prove that you have endo just by those exams. Going to be amazing. But if I don't, I'm still gonna be fighting with you. Like, I want to know what you have. She directed me to also a digestive system doctor. I don't know the names. I don't know the names of doctors, so yes. So I could have some more tests, do some more tests. Like, it could be like my digestive system. Didn't have to be my uterus dying. Didn't have to be my uterus. But yeah, I did all the exams. Like, I did blood tests and did that MRI. I did a specific MRI and everything. But it didn't show anything. Like, I was in perfect health. Just had a little bit of vitamin D deficiency that I have until today, because if I stay 5 minutes on the sun, I get like crazy itchy skin. So even if I wear the most protective sunscreen ever, so that's quite normal for me. Nothing to worry. But my gynecologist from the public hospital, she was like, you know what, you have PCOS. She diagnosed me with PCOS, and it was like, I'm gonna give you a birth control specific for endometriosis, and I'll let you take it for like 6 months or something. And I did take it, but then like, I did take the birth control to see if it would help. It did, like, for the first 3 months. Afterwards, after those 3 months, everything was pretty much the same. So she was like, let's try like another one. Eventually, like, I got to the point where I was like, the problem is having to ingest the birth control. Like, that's a big problem for my stomach, apparently. Why? I don't know. I do not know. When I was 16, I was put on Evra. I was put on Evra, this birth control patch, which is not the best thing in the world, but at least I don't look like I'm about to die every 3 minutes of my life, which is pretty great. It's pretty good. But yeah, I was put on Evra, and the doctor was like, I cannot do a surgery to you before you turn 18. So this next 2 years, we're going to be following you, doing more exams, tracking your symptoms. And when you turn 18, like, as soon as you turn 18, I'm gonna point you to a laparoscopy. And I was like, oh my god, thank you, miss. Thank you, miss. Like, like, I was happy. I was so happy. um, in the meantime, I visited like 7 other doctors, private, the other ones, and they were all of them said the same. Said like, that is quite normal. Pain is normal. With these exams, like the exams you have here are perfect. We cannot do anything about it. Like, you're literally healthy. And I was like, no, healthy but in pain. So I don't know. I had my first lap 3 months ago. Um, when I was almost turning 19. So yeah, I had my lap, and you know what they found? You know what they found? Endo. They found endo. And basically, that was it. This, it sounds simple. Like, it sounds kind of simple, but it wasn't. It was so many years in pain. Editing eyeless here to tell you that I forgot to mention that obviously during those 4 years before diagnosis, I went several times to the ER. And there's one particular story about one of the last times I went to the ER where the doctor prescribed me sleeping pills because she said I was probably not sleeping well, that's why I was in pain. Like, my surgery was already on the calendar to happen, and she said to me that my pain was because I wasn't sleeping well. Girl, what? Yeah. Other stories happened, but this was probably like the worst one of them. I was so mad at hospitals. Seriously. I don't think anything like that. Like, that's awful. I'm just mad. I was really mad at the time, and I think you would know why, but it's just, it's sad to listen to these things when you know that you're sick and people don't take you seriously. Like, what the fuck? But that's it. Let's resume. I'm still in pain, by the way. Never went away. It probably never will go away. But after surgery, I was like, maybe I can get better. Maybe I won't feel so much pain. I still feel the same amount of pain, if not more. But this is a video, like the title of this video is being chronically ill, which means I am diagnosed with I was diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis, but during the 4 years of getting my endo diagnosed, which I was so happy. I woke up from surgery crying. Surgery was crazy. Surgery is a time I don't want to remember. That was painful. It was painful, and I woke up crying, and the woman that was there, like, I think she was a nurse, I'm gonna guess. I woke up crying, and she was like, "Stop crying. You're not a baby. Stop crying." Girl, I had no hair in my lungs. That's why I was crying. And this is to say that in the meantime of the 4 years, the 4 years between starting the pain and getting a diagnosis, I got diagnosed with asthma and migraines. And migraines are the reason why this last week was bad. Like, they're not the only reason, but they are a big one. They are a big, big one. So, I got diagnosed with migraines because I was getting crazy headaches. But the start of them, like, it wasn't even the crazy headaches. It was the fact that I was losing my vision. Like, I remember the first time I got a actual migraine. I was doing laundry. I was 16. I was 16 and doing some laundry, and I stopped seeing, like, everything. Like, I didn't stop seeing. I saw shadows, but everything was so blurry. I was like, what is happening? And I was like, let me sit down and breathe and, like, lay in bed. I laid in bed, fell asleep for like 1 hour or something, and everything came back to normal. But then the next day, like an hour after I woke up, vision was blurry, head was aching a little, and my mom was like, maybe we should go to the hospital. It's not normal, like, not normal at all. And I went to the hospital, and I thought the problem was my eyes. Like, I actually was like, I am a little bit blind. Maybe my eyes are not working well. But no, my eyes were perfectly fine. They put some drops in my eyes and analyzed everything. Perfect. Like a baby. And then the doctor was like, yeah, this is probably the start of a migraine. When this happens, they can ibuprofen and everything will be fine. And everything was not fine, because ibuprofen does not cure everything. It's a thing doctors have, like, at least here. Like, ibuprofen solves everything. Everything you have, it will solve. I'm not gonna lie, it solves a lot of things in my life, but not everything. Not everything is about ibuprofen. So I went to the ER a couple times for migraines, but the worst one of them was, I was in surgery this February. February this year, right now. I was in surgery. I'll probably leave some photos, or I probably already left some photos here. I don't know. But I was in surgery, and a month after, I started having a migraine. Like, my eyes went blurry, and I was like, okay, let me take my ibuprofen. It doesn't work like super well, but it gets me through the day. I took my ibuprofen and I fainted. And then an hour and a half later, I started saying gibberish to my mom. And she was like, this is what she told me after. She was like, you told me you wanted to go to a psychologist. And that's because in my head, I was trying to say that I wanted to go to a doctor to see my head. And for that, to me, that's a psychologist. That's what I called for, a psychologist. And my mom, like, she knows how migraines work, because I've been having them for like 3 years now. And she was like, okay, this one is different. Let me take you to the hospital. Well, I went to the hospital, fainted for 8 hours. Apparently, like, I spoke some things. I don't remember saying anything. But my mom told me what I was saying, because she was the one with me in the hospital. She said that I was basically saying random words. I had that migraine that it's not called a migraine. I think it's like a next stage of a migraine, but I don't know the name. No idea. I'm not a doctor. I don't think I'm supposed to know that. So that happened. I got some medication. Very good medication, though. I love it. Actually helps. This is everything. Like, all I've been saying just to lead to the past week, where I had the combo. This happens sometimes, but, like, not to the extent it happened this week, because I had an endo flare and migraines. I started the week with crazy endo pain, taking my ibuprofen. That doesn't work, but helps. Doesn't work, but it doesn't work. Like, I'm fine, can do my life, but at least I can move from the bed to the sofa, which is already very good for me. And this week was very hard with migraines as well, because I had a lot of things to do. This week was supposed to be like, let's go study week. Girl, I didn't study. I I was able, like, when I'm having like endo flare and I take ibuprofen, I'm somehow able to do some schoolwork, like normal things. But with migraines, I cannot see. So if I cannot see, I cannot do. But yeah, this week was hard. Very hard. Very gave me a lot of time to think though. I'm somehow thankful that life worked very well for me, because 4 years for endo diagnosis, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. From the stories I've heard from friends that waited 11, 12 years to get a diagnosis. I was so lucky to get it in 4, like super lucky. Now I'm still taking this birth control because I haven't had another appointment, but I'll be having an appointment in 2 weeks to discuss like, I don't know, treatments, like something to help ease the pain. I'll probably keep you updated here. This is my first video on YouTube and it's fucking sad. It's actually sad. I don't want it to be sad. I just want you guys to like hear someone who has had an experience with these illnesses, and maybe you have to, like, do you have this combo of PCOS, endometriosis, adenomyosis? I also have it, but like, okay, asthma, migraines. I think it's important to listen and to have other perspectives on illnesses. And I want you guys to know that you are not alone, because I was not alone. Now you have me. Now you have me if you need something. If you guys want to know anything about anything, please leave a comment. I'll be here to answer. But I really want to say that your illnesses do not define who you are. And yes, maybe you need to live a little different, a little slower, and that's okay. That is totally fine. But that's it. I did want to say that our illnesses do not define who we are. They make us slightly more aware of our bodies and ourselves. With these illnesses, like, I feel like I know myself like crazy. Like, I know little details, like I wouldn't notice if it wasn't for these illnesses. It's hard, but I tried to make it a little bit, funny, because we cannot give up and we cannot give in to our diseases. Like, I know I'm sick for life. I know this has no cure for now. Like asthma, I'll be forever a breathless young human. Forever breathless, and it's okay. I'm fine with it. The migraines will eventually go away. I believe them. I believe they will. I really do believe they will go away. I am praying for them to go away. And endo is there. I'll try to find some ways of easing the pain, making my life a little bit easier to live. Overall, what I wanted to say is our illnesses do not define ourselves, and we can have some worries, and that's normal. We can't panic. Like, even when you hear doctors say this is for life, it might not. You don't know if tomorrow they'll find a cure. You don't know. Yeah, but that's it. If you guys have any questions, leave it there somewhere. And I'll answer. I'll probably link some of my social media in the description down below. And yeah, that's it. Actually, before you go, I want to show you my books. They're so pretty. Super pretty. I love them. Bye, guys.